our brand globally is underpinned by community. It's underpinned by shared collective conscience, by shared collective movement, by passion, shared passion. It's about the sense of camaraderie and togetherness. You know, you can do it when the sum of one is made up of a lot.
Matt Brooke, the operator behind two of the world's biggest participation brands, Tough Mudder and Spartan.
The elation of physical accomplishment, of challenge, all these different things that combine to when you cross a finishing line. And if you're standing the opposite side to the person who's providing that moment, that medal, or that headband, or raising that arm because you've won, you can't beat that, I promise you.
Welcome to this special bite-sized episode of Screw It, Just Do It from our back catalogue of over 550 past episodes.
You obviously see a direct correlation between overcoming obstacles in an obstacle race and overcoming the obstacles that life throws at you as well, yeah?
Yeah, so one of the biggest kind of, it sounded fairly cheesy at first, genuinely, which is unlike Spartan and Tough Mudder, but it was called Pick a Date. And I use this now whilst we've moved on as a campaign because it's probably one of the most relevant campaigns to any walk of life when we think about obstacle course racing. But picking a date is where if you pick a date, everything gets meaning.
Yeah.
Because you're working towards something. So if you're in the boardroom and you have a date for an end of a campaign or a strategy or an execution plan or etc., bam, that's a date. If you are yourself, you know, you've got your think about coming, you know, parenthood or the cycle of, you know, pre-birth. You know, you've got 9-month cycle. It's a date. You work towards it. So what we kind of grasped, and then it is in effect through our races, is if you pick a date, put a mark in the calendar. I'm going to go and do this at this point. You give meaning. You have to train. You have to challenge yourself. You have to grow. You have to build a mindset. And what we then do through our races and through our obstacles, quite literally, obviously, overcoming obstacles, overcoming life's challenges, is you take everything that person's been through in that cycle to that point of race day, and you allow them to test themselves. And it becomes then the playground of finding where they are. 9 times out of 10, that person's going to overcome those obstacles. And we're here to celebrate that. But also, if that person doesn't overcome the obstacles, we're here to support them. We're here to say, it's okay. Like, failure is okay, because failure gives you growth. It makes you learn. It makes you adapt. And invariably, you only come back stronger. And again, that's a big part of not only through our races, but how we approach a lot of things in Spartan and Tough Mudder. Like, failure is okay. It's frustrating, especially on a business aspect. But we only grow from it. We only learn from it. And if we didn't have it, you also wouldn't necessarily be, you know, kind of true. It wouldn't necessarily be the authentic experience that we portray to our audiences that we're trying to elicit to come and test themselves, you know?
Yeah, you don't want to make it easy at the end of the day, are you? It's the complete opposite of what you're trying to achieve. It's a challenge. Yep. It's a challenge for people. And part of a challenge is failure, but ultimately failure is learning and going on to try it again. I mean, one for showing up, putting the work in and actually turning up in the first place. Yep. That was interesting. And also, I think part of it, people want to find their tribe, right?
Yes.
Community.
We've slightly erred away from that word given connotations it brings, but community.
Community. Okay.
So community, and it goes back to what we talked about, you know, the first question you asked about the 20 to 30 minutes of activity. Well, that's one thing. But imagine if you did 20 to 30 minutes of activity as part of a community, how much more powerful, how much more meaningful that then becomes. And our brand globally is underpinned by community. It's underpinned by shared collective conscience, by shared collective movement, by passion, shared passion. Yes, okay, everybody wants to run and race and find a PB in our Spartan events. In our Tough Mudder events, it's very different. It's about the sense of camaraderie and togetherness. And, you know, you can do it when the sum of one is made up of a lot.
Yeah.
And equally on the Spartan side, although it's about racing and, you know, finding your chasing your PB, who's the first to the podium and, you know, the rewards that brings. But it's also about, the recognition within a community and a community space that we're pushing boundaries and that we celebrate those who have pushed boundaries, who have achieved. And as much as, you know, I think it's one where that is 90% of why everybody in our organization does what they do, is the community. And the stories that we're able to both see, elicit, generate, witnessing firsthand, because it's that in itself is, I'm going to go on a tangent here, Alex, but I first got into our sector, mass participation sports, kind of by mistake. I always wanted to work in sports. I always wanted to see, I had no idea where. It's so vast, right? And I ended up joining this kind of boutique agency where it was about the show behind the show, sports presentation. So, you're sitting you're watching the football, and then you see, the halftime show and all the glitz and the glam or the pyrotechnics or whatever it might be. And that's, sports presentation.
Right.
And we were in this office space, and we had Victoria Pendleton and her agent, Chris. Oh, I've forgotten his surname now, embarrassingly. So forgive me, Chris. But, and she was going out, Olympic gold medalist, thinking about her next stage and the next chapter. She'd found a new boutique agency that was kind of a spin-off of some old ex-IMG folk. And I knew that they had an opportunity, and I just thought, hey, why not go and try it? It didn't take long after the first event, and it was for Macmillan Cancer Support as well. It was this kind of women's only cycling ride called Cycletta. And it was from that moment, from that first event, standing on the finishing line, that I realized I was in what I was going to do probably for the rest of my life.
Really?
Genuinely. And that's not necessarily a byproduct of, the, kind of a screw it mentality, or et cetera. It was just I'm in this moment, and I'm seeing firsthand what this is meaning to people. I'm a 22, 23-year-old, still fairly fresh-faced. And it was that, and I just knew that this type of sector, this type of space, what it provides people is just unrivaled. Very few, going to theatre is amazing. But the elation of physical accomplishment, of challenge, be that fundraising money, and we'll come on, that's a whole other spin.
Yeah, that's another challenge.
All these different things that combine to when you cross a finishing line.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're standing the opposite side to the person who's providing that moment, that medal or that headband, or raising that arm because you've won, like, you can't beat that. I promise you. And therefore, name me many other jobs in the world in which, you get to have that direct feedback, that real and impactful, powerful feedback.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, sorry, that was a huge tangent.
No. And I think going back to a previous point you made as well, like picking a day, I literally hammer all of my friends, family with this point that if you put a date down, it's far more likely to actually happen, even if you end up having to, for me, put the flag in the sand. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I stand for, etc. And then just break it down into chunks, reverse engineer the process, and work towards that. If it's just that I'm going to do something in the spring, I might do a marathon this year, I guarantee you, like 99.99% of people would never get around to doing it.
It's a mindset, though.
It's a mindset.
It's a mindset, right?
Agreed.
And it's the mindset you can, as I said, you can apply to anywhere. Even if you apply it to business, right? So many businesses either succeed or fail, and it's based on committing, right? And you've got the decision in which you make or don't make. And the more you push something down the line, it doesn't come to fruition, right? And that's why, some of the, our pioneers in global business, your Elon Musks or your Jeff Bezos or whatever, they are divisive, but they're also very committal.
Yeah.
Right? They have a goal, they put their mind to it, and they say this is what's going to happen and when it's going to happen.
And prioritizing stuff. Yeah.
And I think, for us, it's exactly that same. That picking a date, actually, we just said it fairly easily. It comes to kind of rolls off the tongue, but actually that's an obstacle. Right?
Yeah.
That is the first obstacle.
Yeah.
It's the first obstacle of a line of many that then come to wherever then, you end up and you finish. And I think it's one where the respect that picking a date has, we talk about anybody, but, and our journeys for our participants once they've signed up, and how we galvanize them, or how we want to support them, how we want to nurture them, because actually they've already done the hard bit.
Yes.
They've been on the website, they've found I'm going to use their poison, and they've signed up for it. And actually then it's up to us. It's up to, our business, our Spartan brand, and our Tough Mudder brand, and the house of hard that we have, to then really get them to that moment, and to guide them, and to nurture them, and to empower them, and to instill, that sense of belief.
So Matt's got some lessons for founders that you might have heard within that episode. About building experiences that people feel, not just buy, hiring for grit and not just titles and CVs, keeping the promise bigger than the logo. Follow Scrooges Do It for more episodes like this.